We mentioned that our investment committee members, Jim Lebenthal and Degas Wright, are veterans themselves, and here's what service means to them.
What motivated me to join the military was I wanted to be like my father. And he instilled in me a sense of service by his service in the military in the United States Army. I served in the military for 5 years. I was an armored cavalry officer, and that means that I was responsible for working with soldiers, and our main source of transportation was the armored fighting vehicles, and I left the service as a captain. My military service affected my life today because, one, I learned leadership, I learned service, and I learned the importance of working for something larger than yourself.
I served 7 glorious years in the United States Navy from 1990 to 97. I was a nuclear engineer and a submarine officer. Submarines and aircraft carriers are nuclear powered. Submarines have the advantage of, in addition to being a nuclear engineer, you can be a warrior and fight the front end of the ship as well as drive the back end of the ship. One of the things I learned and loved the most in the Navy was this sense of teamwork and the sense of it didn't matter what your upbringing was or what your beliefs were, as long as you could complete the job at hand and complete it well.
Guys, as I said, we do salute you and your service to this great country. I love the old pictures. And Degas, you know, I know you think often back to the days of the Beast Barracks, as they were called at West Point. Tell me about your roommate and a funny story that you have.
Yeah, so the cadre welcomed us on July 1st into the academy. And one of the things, I had a roommate, a brilliant young man, and we would go around West Point, and he would just look at the buildings, and the buildings are in the style of Greek Revival granite. And he saw the granite. All he saw was the dullness. It was drab. And what I saw was silver because I wanted to be there. It was a dream. And so what happened, freshman year, he left the academy. He did not graduate from the academy. And I was blessed enough to have finished that journey. But it taught me the perspective. You look at your challenges. You can look at it positively or negatively, and that can mean all the difference.
You know, we ask everybody whenever we do this, you know, annually, Jim and Degas, what you take from your military experience into the real world, so to speak, you know, into the boardroom, if you're an executive, onto the trading floor, or the way that you invest other people's money and your own. And the word that always arises from that is discipline. And I think of that so much, Jim, when I think about you, the way you talk about stocks, the way you think about your investments or trades. I think of our many conversations on Roku and how you have to remain disciplined in the way that you interact with the market, right? I mean, it is discipline in the way you think and execute all this stuff.
It is discipline. Thank you, Scott. It is discipline, and there's one other word that goes hand in glove with it, which is humility. You have to know yourself. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. You have to know the strengths and weaknesses of others on your team. And if you do that, and if you carry yourself with a meaningful amount of humility, that's where the discipline comes from. To know when you're right, but to know when you're wrong, too. And, you know, as I think about today, and every day I think about my military service, what I really feel is gratitude, grateful to have had the lessons learned that I did learn in the military. And it really comes down to discipline, teamwork, and humility. I think as our nation goes through a very important transition, those are elements that I hope we will all hold in high regard as we go into the next phase of this great nation's life.